All right, Iranian officials are holding funerals for security forces who've died during the nationwide protests. Tens of thousands of people have taken to the streets since December, although Tuesday night seems to have been calm. Iranian officials have repeatedly accused the U.S. of fomenting the unrest. This while U.S. President Donald Trump is telling Iranian protesters, take over your institutions. And Al Jazeera's Tohid Asadi is live for us right now in Tehran. Tohid, we are getting very little information on what the protests look like, obviously, because of this internet blackout. What do you know about the scene last night? Were there significant protests, and what are we expecting to see today in terms of funerals?
Well, actually, from what I can say, starting from Monday morning, we have been witnessing more of pro-state rallies and demonstrations and less, if not at all, of the anti-government protest gatherings going on across the country. And today we have a funeral for, according to the state TV, over 100 people, including security forces and ordinary citizens who lost their lives as a result of escalations and violence confrontation between the security forces as well as some of the protesters in the capital and across the other cities of the country. Specifically over the past 2-3 days, we have been witnessing similar funerals going on. But speaking of anti-government protests, I can say that to a certain extent the situation has been cooled down.
So, Tohid, the U.S. State Department says that a 26-year-old man who had been part of these protests named Irfan Soltani has already been sentenced and is set to be executed today. So what do we know about where that process stands?
Well, so far we don't have any information that could be confirmed from the official sources about any execution taking place today. This is what we have so far, but still we know that the judiciary head of the country has said that the trial for those involved in acts of violence against the security forces and against people, those who are carrying guns, is going to be very fast. And on that, we have to keep in mind that in the Iranian legal system, if they are charged with muharaba, which means the status of war with the Islamic establishment, they will face severe punishments such as death penalty if the court ruling comes out in that way.
So obviously President Trump has had a lot to say about the situation in Iran. He's warned against executions in an interview yesterday. He said, if they hang them, you're going to see some things. So has there been any response from the government on that?
Yes, indeed. Specifically after the U.S. President Donald Trump came out to threaten Iran about the possibility of intervention, the first reaction came from the Secretary for the Supreme National Security of country, Ali Larijani, in response to Trump, who already said that in case of further escalation, there is a possibility of intervention, and that he said, save the name of the killers and abusers. Larijani came out to say that we announced the name of the main killers of Iranian people, number one, Trump, and number two, Netanyahu. Also, the Iranian foreign minister had several phone conversations with different counterparts across the globe. And all in all, I can say that the rhetoric that he pitches upon is on the basis of Iran's readiness for any scenario down the road. This is something that we also heard from him in his exclusive interview with Al Jazeera, coming out to say that the capabilities of Iran has been strengthened both qualitatively and quantitatively compared to the time of war back in June when the Israelis and Americans decided to start a campaign of strikes against Iran. And also, Tehran says that it's ready for dialogue and conversation and negotiation with the U.S. And on that, the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs says that the lines of communication with Washington is open. Meanwhile, there is a cloud of mistrust when it comes to a possibility of a negotiation between the two sides, seeing the historical background that exists.
So this internet blackout, Tohid, has been going on for, I think, 5 or 6 days now. The Iranian government said earlier this week that they would lift that blackout. Has that happened, or is there a plan for when that might happen?
Well, actually, the Iranian government is, I think, assessing the situation to actually consider the possibility of restoration of internet, specifically since Thursday night, when the unrest flared up into violence. They decided to conduct such an internet shutdown, which is putting a lot of ordinary citizens into trouble when it comes to their daily communications. Just starting from yesterday, we have been able to call the numbers outside the country, but still when it comes to international calls from the outside of the country to inside Iran, it's restricted, and internet shutdown continues up until the moment that we are speaking, even though the services, the websites and applications that are domestic are still available, not affected by this shutdown. And people are just waiting to see if it's going to be restored. The Iranian Foreign Minister, Abbas Araghchi, told us that it's going to be restored soon. But how soon that would be is something that we have to keep waiting to see what comes next.
All right, Al Jazeera's Tohid Asadi in Tehran. Tohid is one of the few reliable sources we're getting from inside of Iran. Tohid, please keep us posted. Thanks.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news, expert insight. Like, share, stay ahead.